Right. Should be live. What's going on, boys? I am rerunning some stuff. I didn't change any projections. I just went ahead and removed some people that I didn't necessarily want. Just make sure I can hear myself here. And I can, so that's fine. So I'm just letting this run the background while we get started here. And sorry for the technical issue, but I got logged out of my account on TrueDFS and I had to log back in to get what is it? To get in to make sure I can get my stuff up on SaberSim. So let me just make sure this is running. Feel free to drop anything in the comments. I am going to kind of kill some time real fast and take about 2 minutes to talk about UFC and everything last night, because personally, for me, yet again, I'm just kind of killing time here. For me, I get into UFC for maybe like 3 to 4 months out of the year, and then I jump out and stuff. And it's mainly during the off season for NASCAR, just because I just don't have the time usually during the NASCAR season to sit there for 8 hours and watch an entire card and stuff. And typically, a lot of them, they're not duds, but like last night was amazing as a viewer. Everything that's going here. Make sure this is there. If you recall, I was very much on board, or not on board, but I was like, man, if I win some money, I will certainly play the UFC card and stuff. And I end up doing that again, and then it's just the same. It's the same song and dance for me personally. I just get 5 out of 6 guys. My last dude is the underdog in the main. He loses, and I just like men cash. That is all I ever do in MMA. Like I can never get it. I can never get it. But if you recall, very much in the video yesterday when I was killing time, I was like, man, you know what? If I was playing, I'd want to be using Sheets' projections, because he's very good at MMA. Now, he's very good at everything, but he's very, very good at MMA. And I was like, man, there's a real chance he's going to take it down. This seems like a slate to where he'll be there. And typically, whenever you hear that, it's like, so-and-so will do good and stuff. No, I truly mean this. Like, Sheets wins more than I have ever seen anybody win consistently, and just everything. And yet again, last night, got so close. It was so close. He finished third. And I don't remember how big the train was, but pretty awesome slate to only have 2 guys take down first, with as many not even necessarily chalk busting, but just underperforming, and some of the the lower owned pivots scoring 120, 112 and stuff like that. So congratulations on Sheets. If you'd like, and yet again, I'm just killing time so I get this stuff running inside. If you'd like to join us, you join us through any of these memberships that you see here. The SaberSim starter isn't even offered by SaberSim. And also, I can say this, okay? If you have SaberSim, I would just cancel SaberSim and get it through us, because then you get our projections plus SaberSim. And then, truly, if you are somebody who plays, realistically 25 to 30,000 a year, and certainly more, I mean, with everything that you get, if this will load, because I'm technically logged out on this one, like, it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. If you are one of those individual players, like these are pretty decent discounts on everything. So I just wanted to point that out. Now that that's all good to go, and let me make sure this is all done. It's still running lineups. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and go through. Now, I made this high fancy tab for us. Okay, if you remember, I made this tab here that is just recent form out of everything. Okay, so we can, basically have a line graph of seeing how everybody does. We can see where everybody kind of falls in line. There shouldn't be any surprises, because we have a pretty decent sample size here, and then we can compare this with practice data that we see in these races. We can compare it with where people start, their potential upside, and et cetera, et cetera. And so, where I'm at is I typically start removing older races as we go along, because like this is over a year ago, okay? Like straight up, where like there's no reason to be using that old of data, but we like to just pay attention. Now, I had some people reach out and be like, Brandon, can you not just remove that stuff? Because I like looking at it, or I like being aware of that. I find this far more useful than looking at track history or whatever. And so I went ahead and kept this here, and we will keep this going forward. But I made this new tab, okay? And this new tab is recent form 2 without races. Oh, without with recent races from the sheet. If I remember my own. I totally forgot it. I made it last night. I was going to make a joke. I totally forgot what my acronym stood for. I'm pretty sure it's I don't even remember what the acronym is. Anyway, I just removed Las Vegas. That was the whole bit, and I totally forgot I totally forgot my joke. Anywho, so this is where everybody is lined up today based on the starting grid. We can see where everybody is lined up based on these races here. And so basically, we do have the practice laps here, which we can look through. Now, I haven't gone through and removed these yet. I don't think we necessarily need to. We will, because I still got to kill time over here, and it'll allow you guys to drop questions, and you can view the practice laps and everything here. Yet again, like I'm just very happy with that UFC fight. Because then I don't have to watch another UFC card for like 4 months. I'm good. I don't have to watch it again. That was everything I wanted. One of my favorite things to see, and I'm a little baby. I've never broken a bone. I've been in some fights, and I've lost more than I've won. But I love just violence. And one of my favorite things to see is somebody break their nose in UFC. Like, that's probably my favorite thing. That and bloodbaths. And the fact that we got both of those, oh, man, that was an awesome card, man. So, thankfully, I don't have to waste my time watching more cards, at least for a couple months, maybe until the off season. Okay, so now that we're kind of showing where everybody's laps are, and I think I'm missing one down here. And we'll keep the 170s in. I'm only taking laps over 179 in terms of averages, I believe. I believe that's what I did. And I'm missing a 160. I'm missing another 160 somewhere. Probably. Here we are. There we go. I'll leave it here. Okay, so we're at a bunch of 170s. Well, the 170s aren't calculated in the average, so that doesn't matter. It's just for a visual thing, and I think we can very easily see who has the faster laps, who's able to maintain speed and everything like this. And so, like, first and foremost, like Austin Cindric, flying out of the gate, he only did 15 laps, so that's a concern. He started up front. Do we want to play Austin Cindric? No, I have no interest in Cindric at all. Why do I have no interest in Cindric? Same thing. Like, if you guys watch the preview video and stuff, that I think is very much evergreen for this season at the 1.5s. This is data that I'm trusting. Anytime we see an anomaly like Cindric in practice and Q, that is like an instant, like, okay, cool. I don't have to think about it, not playing him. No interest in Cindric at all. Okay, we can see where he's at in terms of speed at all these other tracks. We can see where he's at in speed at Las Vegas. So we see that, wow, clear anomaly. We look here, wow, man, he really is. Oh, we're sorted by 10. Like when he's up here, he's like, wow, that would look pretty good, Brandon. What do you mean you don't want to play him, with where he's at? And I'm like, we can clearly see that he's not even in the same county as these guys over here. So, like, for example, like Cindric, no interest. Don't ask me about Cindric. That is my own opinion. So, really, what we're going to be looking at is basically where these guys have been at the 1.5s, and that'll give us a good baseline and a good starting position of where we can project these guys to be, how we can project, truly he's going to be running in the top 5 and getting fast laps and laps led and stuff throughout this race. And so, like that, did my stuff finish running yet? Okay, it did. Okay, so now that that's done running, let me see what my exposures are at the moment now that I've removed useless players from the pool. I know the first comment that was on here, fuck, there's no way, man. There's no way in hell. There's no way Byron's not going to be played again, guys. What are we doing? What is this? What does Sheets have as his ownership projection here? Because SaberSim is like, nobody's playing William Byron again. Main reason I'm saying that is because, like, my 3 highest guys that I'm personally exposed to at the moment are Larson, Byron, and Reddick. And so SaberSim has, which we have ran into issues. You know, we understand their ownerships are a bit shaky, very shaky. But they got Byron at a solid 17.22 ownership. Sheets has William Byron at a solid 24.34 ownership. So it sounds like just by that alone, I'm going to have probably 80, 100% William Byron if the field is not going to play him. I also like Tyler Reddick. Okay. When rating this race, the issue, and let me just make sure based on these that I'm getting to probably two of these guys in each lineup, which I'm assuming might even be getting to all three of them. Perfect. Right where I'm at. Never mind. I'm playing Reddick, Byron, and Larson, those three in a lot of lines. Those are my highest projected lines. That's where I want to be. That's why I reran stuff, because I was not getting those originally. So yeah, it's for me. I'm just gonna probably play the trio Larson, Byron, and Reddick together. If I start removing people, it'll probably be Larson, so I'll have Reddick and Byron together. But like that's my core. You want the core? You want the safe plays? Where are you going, Brandon? I'm playing Larson, Reddick, and Byron together. That is what my stuff is showing, and I mainly just wanted to rerun stuff to get, not even personally get that, but I just want to see if I start removing people that I didn't necessarily like, would it allow me to do that? And it has. So like that's really all that I needed to run and figure that out. And so a lot of my answers will be based on those three individuals and how other drivers fit in those lineups. The reason for all that, now that we're at that point, I can confirm that with where we're at. I already see it, K. You just typed in, well, my bad. I jumped the gun. I saw 6K or less. I was like, top three players, just said them. So yet again, we'll talk about value and stuff like that. Why? Brandon, why do you want to play three guys up top? Why do you want to play Larson, Byron, Reddick? Why do you want to possibly be underweight on Larson if you start, removing guys and start doing a 2 lap leader type of build? Why would Larson be the first individual that you remove from here? So one, I mean, that's pure leverage. I would implore you, if you haven't seen it, which based on the views, now I understand that this channel is different to my own personal channel, at least when I was making content, because I wasn't necessarily cannibalizing the algorithm, because we upload a lot of videos. We go live every day. And so I understand that most videos aren't being pushed into people's stuff, because my previous videos get a lot less views, this year compared to last year. But this one here, guys, watch this. Please watch this. It is an hour long, talking about intermediate tracks and talking about the trends that we've seen DFS wise from the fastest cars at these tracks, specifically how ownership has not reflected who has been the true cars that you've been wanting to play, and how, despite the fact that those guys haven't been optimal because they ran into a lot of issues. We've typically ran into, we're looking back at 2022, 2021. Toyotas were the fastest cars. They literally just kept getting involved in wrecks. Like Joe Gibbs would have all 4 cars be involved in a crash and just run into issues. And so people who won the race, people who ran in the top 5, people who did well, literally legit weren't the best cars. And it was reflected in the ownership constantly. Like, I was baffled during those times where people were just under. I would implore you, please, if you're going to listen to anything I do, just please watch this video. That's all I ask. It's not even like and subscribe. I just, please watch this video. That's all I ask. I need to reach over and get my water. My water is so far away. Hold on. Took myself off because my water's like way up here on the desk. I got to be like 4 milli-inches away from the camera, and I don't think anybody necessarily wants that this early in the morning on Sunday. Anywho, while we are here, and I'll look through the chat in a bit and stuff, and I appreciate the 70 of you guys joining me this early on this Friday. So we look at Larson. Where has Larson been in these races? Larson has been a consistent top 3 car, especially. I mean, we're looking at, yet again, I removed Las Vegas, but we were looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you include Michigan in this, which I would not fault you for. Yet again, I still, dude, I get so many messages on this. Like, people are actually mad between that and the Bubba Wallace. It's insane. But I still, to this day, I get messages like, "Why do you have Pocono on this? Why do you have Darlington on this?" And I'm like, it literally doesn't make a difference. It does not. We find the same guys are fast everywhere. What's Texas? Turn 1 and 2 is literally 2 lanes, 2.5 lanes wide. If you go up, into the PJ1, the old spray, you're just spinning out. What is that track like? Just imagine they put a wall there. You slide up 2.5 lanes up the track and your day is done. What track is that like? It's just Darlington. Are you kidding me? It's 2.5 lanes. We see the exact same guys fast across the board. So, like, yet again, at this point, I've fully stopped using track history for drivers. I've stopped using really everything else except this data point and practice and stuff, and cross-referencing each one. So anyway, we look at Larson and we see that he is pretty much just a lock for a top 3 driver in terms of speed in this, outside of being involved in a crash or an equipment failure of some sort. He is going to be there. Dover had the best car in this race. Okay, drove up through the field and Rush Chastain takes him out. So when we're looking at, I just forgot how many this is, 12, 13 races, sample size of 1 instance of him underperforming, right, and being taken out, that's pretty good. When we look at Reddick, and we look at where he's at in these cars, and we look at, like, he is very much, in my opinion, the 3rd best car entering this race. Not just based on where we're at. Like here, when we're looking at Reddick, Larson, Byron, yet again, I'm not going over the same thing we've gone over time and time again about these stupid groups and stuff. But we can understand that, Reddick, Larson, and Byron are going to be your top guys here, not just based on the practice speed and their rankings, not just based on where they're at in terms of maintaining a pretty decent speed and not falling off a ton. But we can see based on this data point that, look, Reddick is going to be there, especially when he shows good speed in practice, when he shows a good qualifying effort, when this is a track where we're expecting Hendrick and the Toyotas, which Legacy doesn't count because that's not a real team. Okay, so we're talking Joe Gibbs in 2311. When we're looking at those two teams being the favorite entering this race, and then we see very much of what Reddick can do. We've seen very much of what he's done recently. We've seen where he's been at. I like Reddick today, and then we look at Byron, who, yet again, I'm baffled. I truly don't know what people are doing. If anything, dude, I've had this conversation. We look at Larson and his consistency, and then we look at Byron, who has arguably been even more consistent out of this. His worst 2 races due to I forgot if it was pit. Oh, I forgot what happened at 2 Kansas races at this point. I know I mentioned it before. Last week at Las Vegas, truly the 3rd best car runs into a full garbage can. It gets damaged because there's trash in it. Like, that's insane. When we look at where Byron is, clearly the 2nd most consistent car here. And the identical play to Kyle Larson. Okay? So I don't understand. And I'm not trying to be here to just repeat the same thing, but I'm going to keep saying it until we see ownership even out between these 2 individual drivers. We've talked about last weekend. Kyle Larson and William Byron should be owned the exact same amount. Like, optimal percentage wise, they have the exact same percentage to be optimal. They have the exact same percentage to run away with the race. They have the exact same percentage to get the race on, to get the lead on pit road. Cliff Daniels and I just went blank. The big boy on top of the 24 box. Just went blank. Like, both those individual crew chiefs are able to get the lead on pit lane. Until the field catches up with that, I want to be overweight on the people who are going to be under-owned compared to that. So we're seeing that Larson is the clear favorite. He is projected to be the highest owned driver. I would like to play him and William Byron together, and I would like to be overweight on William Byron to the field, because when we look at these races here, he is just as much speed as Larson. They are the identical cars. Okay. Yet again, what happened? And this is not because he won last year at Texas. Who gives a shit about that? I'm just saying that these cars are the exact same car, and Byron is going to be lower owned in terms of DFS, in terms of playing lower owned plays and getting different. Byron is your guy. That's how it is. When we look at Reddick, same situation here. There is no reason for there to be such a huge difference, and even difference in ownership between Reddick and Byron too. Like there's no reason for that. All three of these guys have very similar upside. They are showing exactly what we want to see, and that's my point on those three guys. I don't really want to talk about them anymore, because I've just been screaming at the heavens for fucking years now, and I just don't get it. Okay, so now that we figured that out, let's talk about why I don't necessarily like other people. So Ty Gibbs at 85. This is where Ty Gibbs is at. This is concerning. This is concerning. I don't really care about the practice data, because based on this stuff, we're seeing that he does not have a car that will be able to contend with the faster Hendrick guys, and there's a real chance that Gibbs falls down to running around from 8th to probably 13th today. So that is why I don't have much interest in him. As I move on to Bell, we'll just kind of go through. We'll go through everybody here, and then I'll read chat, and we'll go back and look at stuff. So here's Bell, based on his stuff. And yet again, I mean, I go through and look the practice stuff and take note and everything, but like for the most part, we know where everybody's going to fall in line at. Like truly, like we can see where everybody falls in line. Okay, so when we look at Briscoe, and we look at where that's getting Elliott too. So when we look at Briscoe, same thing with like Austin Cindric. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, this is Briscoe showing the best speed he has shown in 14 races at a 1.5. Okay. Is he showing anything crazy here? Oh, yikes. Is he showing it? Oh, fuck. Bro, I can't play Briscoe. We're looking at Blaney. When we look at Blaney and other pivots off of like the big, like three favorites, Larson, Reddick, Byron, correct? So, in order for Hamlin, in order for Truex, in order for Blaney, in order for other guys who do have top 10 cars and upside to win races and stuff, they need all three of those guys to run into issues. They need to, and if they don't run into issues, they need to have a faster car than all three of those guys combined. So when I look at Blaney here, and I look at where he is at here in terms, when we looked at his fall off, or at least when I did and stuff, and understand the track condition that he was on, like I don't see Blaney beating those three guys heads up. So personally, I'm not playing Blaney. We talked about Cindric, same thing with Truex, and truly outside of the horrific playoff start that he had last year, he was the main contender to defeat Larson and Byron here. So I would have no interest in Blaney. I would personally choose the discount of Truex over Hamlin. Like Truex would be the guy that if I don't like one of the three guys, or I don't feel confident about him, or like whatever, like if you guys want to pivot or something, like Truex would be that priority for me, because I think based on this stuff, he shows that he has the ability to beat those guys. And if you don't like Reddick, the other build that I like is Larson, Byron, and Truex together. That is a build that I will play in the lineups that I don't have Reddick in, because I think I like the discount at Truex at 97. I like where he's at. When we look at all the Joe Gibbs guys, they're going to show up really poorly in the averages. So yet again, when we're looking at this type of stuff, do we see that Truex is going to be like the worst car in the field? No, there's no like this shows that is not going to be accurate at all. So I like Truex as a guy that I would want to build around if I don't have it. When we get to people like Bubba Wallace, they fit in yet again. If I'm paying up for like 3 10K guys, I just can't get to the 8K range or 9K range. But if I'm playing a 2 lap leader build with Larson and Byron, Reddick, Byron, whatever, that is a build where I very much like getting to Bubba Wallace. just because of his potential upside here. Not because he led laps last year at Texas, although, that is nice to see. But yet again, I don't like to focus on track history. I just like to focus on where we're at here. I like where his price is. I like that typically he does better in races where he can actually show speed in qualifying and actually, already start at least here in the field versus like 16th and 17th and stuff like that. So I don't mind Bubba Wallace at all. When we look at Hamlin here, yet again, the question isn't between can Hamlin be here. It's literally who performs better between Truex and Hamlin. And I would just take the pretty big discount up here from Hamlin to Truex. Practically the same plays, or practically the same play. Same thing. We're going to see very poor speed in actual averages and stuff. But where these guys line up, like Truex and Hamlin, identical play. Who's going to be lower owned, or who is even lower owned between these two individual guys based on early look? Yeah, so it's looking like Truex going to be lower owned between Hamlin and Truex. So I would just play Truex. Like that's literally all it comes down to for me. Get to Chastain. Recent. This is the main concern here. So I don't have interest in Chastain. When we look at Michael McDowell, it's so funny that these guys. I'm sorry to make fun of McDowell here, but it's so funny that a lot of these guys are like, man, whenever they win, they're like, I just want to thank God, God, country, freedom, our nation's veterans. Thank you very much. But man, when something goes wrong, they just hate it for their guys. It's never God causing things to go wrong. I can't play McDowell here. This is where he's at, starting 13th. I just can't project the fucker to do anything past 13th. So I have no interest in McDowell. And yet again, this is how I make a lot of my projections. A lot of my stuff, which people like. I don't know. It's both amazing that I feel like my projections would be very easy to project. And they're not. They're always different compared to the field. But I feel like based on this stuff, people would know who I like. People would know who I'm playing, and I don't know. This is just how I build projections. I'm literally just showing you basically and talking you through how I build projections. And that I'm still just drastically different than the field each week. It's wild. But Bowman here, 84, can't see him moving up. Very difficult play. That's not saying he can't do it, because if we like all the Hendrick guys, we understand. But based on this type of stuff, it's hard pressed to dot Bowman down as projected for 6. That's, I mean, he needs help getting there. And so when I see this, it's okay, cool. Bowman's unplayable. Let's just get him out of the pool. Let's just not even worry about that. Austin Dillon, very little interest here. Carson Hocevar starting right where he should be at. Make your own judgment there. We got Daniel Suarez right where he's at. This is where it comes from. Yeah, these guys them moving up 2, 3, 4, 5 positions doesn't do anything. If they go backwards, in those positions, they're dead. If they hold their position, they're unplayable. If they gain 3 to 4 positions, they're still unplayable. So they need to have standout days and stuff. So I had one guy DM me about, see, I told you Ryan Sieg would be fast, and you didn't like him. I'm sorry. Looking at the data of 300 something races, the guy has never fucking done that. Good for him, man. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what you want to say, man. All they did, they come down pit lane. I know the crew chief was like, guys, we got a real chance. Those idiots are wrecking themselves. We got no fast guys up here. Let's just fucking go ahead and give him air pressure that he'd have deep in the run, bump the air pressure up 4% in each tire, maybe 3, throw him out there, give him short run speed. Then people were like, I told you to play. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? You're telling me you walked in that race expecting Sieg to be second. Get out of here, man. Give your head a shake. We look at Zane Smith. Can't do it. Chris Buescher is. So when we look at where RFK has been, it's the overarching thing of kind of RFK has been underperforming. Now, I understand we've been at a lot of short tracks, but even they've been underperforming based on what they should have been doing there. When we look at this end of last year, Buescher starting 19th at 8,000. He needs, where are we at here? He needs to get like a top 10, truly. And I got him for like 12th, 13th. Scrubbing off some fast laps and stuff. And he's like right at like 39 points. If it does anything more than that, which these races indicate that he can, but truly, like if he just lands if he lands where he should be in terms of speed. Now, yet again, this is not finishing position. This is where they're at in terms of speed, the data point I use. If he is an 11th place car, okay, and yet again, this is how you think through lineups. Like personally, I don't like Buescher based on the projection of like 11th to 12th, 13th, okay, which is truly where he should be in terms of speed, because he's not going to be hitting value, okay? So what lineups does Buescher work in? And I'm also trying to be better, at least in true situations like this, to where it's not just I write him off or whatever. If I'm playing Buescher, how does he go from 12th, 11th to 6th and 7th in this race? That means that we get either chaos at the end, restarts, whatever, and mainly guys who are up front getting taken out. Because if people wreck in the back, it doesn't help Buescher. If we got dum-dums and goobas, wrecking for 24th, I mean, Buescher don't pass those guys. Okay? The way Buescher goes from 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th to 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th best in the race is if we have issues from guys running in like the top six and stuff. So if I'm playing Buescher at 8,000, I don't want to play him in lineups that I have a lot of lap leaders who are starting up front. Buescher, I think he works a lot in races to where if Larson blows a tire, if Byron blows a tire, if Reddick blows a tire, if guys up front crash and run into issues. So like where I'm at, I'm personally not playing Buescher because I'm just not building for that. If you want to play Buescher, that is the type of lineup you would play him in. You do not play Buescher because he doesn't have the speed to get up to where he needs to be optimal. You don't play him with all these lap leaders and stuff. You play him in lineups to where, a chalk bust, a guy who was up front crashes, things of that nature. And so, like, I don't like Buescher Day, but that is where I would specifically play him if I was going to play him. Very similar to Logano. Logano and Buescher on paper, like these guys are going to be fringe like value plays because I got Buescher like I said 39. I got Logano like right at like scraping off some fast laps. He's like right around 44 to 47 points. If you want the exact projections, you can, and again, join us and link the description below and look at my stuff specifically. But what does Logano need? He needs, because he is going to be from like 8th to 12th today in terms of where he should be running. Same thing with Buescher. You should only play Logano and Buescher in races to where we have more issues in the top 10, or because realistically we have you have Cindric, you have Briscoe, you have Gibbs, who will probably fall out of the top 10. Okay, that still leaves 7 people who are going to be up there. Truex is going to maintain. Bubba's going to be on the fringe of maintaining. Hamlin's going to move up in the top 10. Chastain has a real chance of being in the top 10 and maintaining there. So Logano's getting trapped, right around 9th to 12th. How does he move up from that situation to get to 4th, get to 5th? Guys wreck out who should be running the top 10. And so if you're same thing with Buescher, if you're playing Logano, that's the build I would lean towards doing. So yeah. Now I go to Noah. You can't look me in the face and be like, yeah, you got to play Noah. Look at Brad. Now, based on this stuff, Brad should be a great play. Yet again, kind of same thing of how RFK has been underperforming. That's where you do look at not the results of the short tracks, but looking at situations where Brad specifically should have been better than how he's performed at those tracks. He should have been better at Las Vegas than here. So I think maybe people don't use this data point, so maybe not. When I look at this, I'm like, dude, Brad should smash This guy, 82 for a guy starting 22nd, showing top 8 speed contention-wise. This guy should smash. He should be a chalk play based on that stuff. And I'm like, and maybe I'm like overthinking. I don't even know. Let's see. Let's take a gander of where good old Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski just won this race. Sabin has him at 19. Sheets has him at 25. I think that's a much more accurate ownership projection. I think Keselowski's chalk. Like I said, I don't make my own projections. I'm just looking at like where he's at in pricing, where he's at in 22nd, what he's done. He should be chalk. Okay, and so I'm at the point where I'm like, based on how they've been underperforming recently, very similar like Cole Custer, Yet again, did it yesterday, underperformed based on where he's starting and in practice speed and stuff. Keselowski's been underperforming. RFK in general, like looking at this, clearly they have speed here, but where they've been at this year, they've been underperforming. This is a place where I'd be like, I would lean yet again because I think he's going to be popular. I would lean into. I don't think he performs at this range, and so I have Keselowski projected for. I gave him like 13th. 14th at that, unplayable, not able to do it. He needs to be a top 10 car. This shows that he has that capability, but looking at where they're at this year, like, dude, Keselowski and Buescher as a total play, or as like, this team's kind of underperforming based on that, or based on where they had been at the end of last year for whatever reason. Now, this is a big indicator because it's second 1.5, so this will answer a lot of things going into Dover and Kansas and Darlington and stuff. But I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. Might as well just lean to him underperforming, especially if he's going to be popular. I think that's a place you want to get different at. That's just where I'm at. Okay. Also, I hope, I know I talk and some people like me, some people don't, but at least you know where I'm coming from. Because I would like to think I'm at least very good at explaining why I come to the conclusions that I do. And so like, that might be a very controversial take today that I would not want to play Keselowski with everything showing here. But I think he might be bad chalk. That's just where I'm at. Because I just think a lot of builds would land on him. LaJoy, take it or leave it. Elliott, he's 93. You got to prioritize him if you're getting to him. If it's a 2-lap leader build, or if you're doing just a single runaway with Larson or Byron, then Elliott makes a lot of sense. I got him for 11th as well. I got him just under value. But like the same thing, like if you want to play Buescher, if you want to play Chase, or if you want to play Keselowski, I know it's like, $1,300,000 difference, but like if you're playing Buescher, if you're playing Keselowski, you have to build around those guys to get them in. You might as well just build to fit in Chase Elliott if you like that type of build. Excuse me. That's what I would do, or that's where I would go. Or that's my opinion on Chase Elliott. Barry, Priest. I will say that a race like this, I don't have anybody project to hit value like under, I think it's like 68, 7,000. A lot of these guys I have projected like a 4x value. So it's just raw points at that point. So a lot of these guys are going to look hideous and show a little upside. Like, with Jones, same thing with Jones. He's shown the potential, has a chance. But man, like, oof. I got Jones. I got that Jones boy at. I got him at like a 4.7 value. That's like 33 points. Like, I don't have any, but I guess it's probably like 75 under. Like, my value range today, I don't have a single like standout value. It's literally just whoever I land on. Chasing my guys up top because Texas is so difficult to pass. They spread out. They just, you can't pass at this track. And so if you're starting back here and you don't have, like, you could argue that, yeah, I mean, Jones has shown speed, but like Texas, I would argue, is a track same like to Dover. You have to show like incredible speed at Dover to fly through the field. You have to be like legit a top 5 car starting here to just get to 15th on green flag speed alone. It is so hard to pass here. So like Jones, like, you know, I don't know. So like all these guys are gonna look very hideous and very ugly past here. So that's my take. Like I don't really have a favorite value play um for this because everybody looks horrible, you know. Like, what the heck? Oh, I spelled Ricky wrong. You know. And or these guys like Stenhouse, for example, you know. Oh, fuck, man. So yeah, I'm very much playing whatever my stuff is telling me to play back here. I do not have a favorite for these value plays at all. Austin Hill, I would just use right where Austin Dillon is. I'm not saying like Austin Hill is better than Austin Dillon, but you know, times Austin Hill has jumped in the car. I think at Michigan, that is probably he ran Michigan, so that would be. Let's take a look at where Austin Hill was at Michigan. Since I don't have that included on here, because I'm pretty sure he ran Michigan last year. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But scraping the back of my skull and all the brain matter, I'm pretty sure I'm pulling up Austin Hill ran Michigan last year. And let's go. And he did. He finished 28th. All right. So just replace Austin Dillon. And that's so like Austin Hill, nothing is here, we'll put Hill on here. So like nothing shows to play Austin Hill here. You know, like nothing screaming it. I would just be like, would I play Austin Dillon at $6,000 starting 34th? You know, probably. You know, I've seen some discussions on Kyle Busch, you know, going to a backup car and RCR running a third car for Austin Hill. And, you know, is Austin Hill taking, you know, a backup car, or is he, you know, is Kyle Busch having, you know, a secondary backup car? You know, is he getting, you know, a bad car? What's going on here? Well, look, it's Kyle Busch starting last for $9,000. Okay. Now, yet again, if I'm paying up the way I'm building, it's so difficult for me to get to Kyle Busch. But Kyle should not be looked at as a guy who would project, even in this situation, to be scoring like 60 points, 50 points, and stuff like that. The question is can Kyle Busch, and yet again, he works out a lot in situations where you have Larson running away with the race or one guy running away with the race, because then you have to pay for place differential and stuff. Can Kyle Busch get to like 52 points? 50 points. That's the real question here. Okay. I have him at 42.95. I think 45 is in the realm of possibility. But in order for him to do that, I have Kyle for like 17th. So that's Kyle with no practice in his car, them, you know, already having a car, you know, baseline and stuff. Yet again, he had a top 5 car at Las Vegas. Gets that speed or gets the pit road issue, runs into another pit road issue. It's like, you know, put him at 7th best car at Las Vegas is fine. So we can see Kyle Busch, best case scenario, having a 13th, 12th place car. When you put him in that situation, that should be the projection. So like you put him there, Kyle is at 48 points. So, like, I don't think Kyle works today, man. Realistically, he would have to show off like he did the first year of the next gen car at Las Vegas with Joe Gibbs, which that's Joe Gibbs, man. I don't think Kyle Busch works today. I think he scores. I think he hits value. And I think if you're playing cash, which I don't talk cash a lot, I think if you're playing cash, you play Kyle Busch. I think that's a no-brainer, but I don't think he is optimal, and I don't think you bother playing him in tournaments. That's my take on Kyle Busch. Ty Dillon, who else is texting me, man? Fucking God, dude. Oh man, we get to this decrepit old has-been, which I just like hating on Jimmy. I think it's very funny and very easy. And when he dies in a fucking speedboat crash, don't come crying at me, because some bitch has wrecked everything he's been in since he left NASCAR. And truly, I don't know if he listens. I don't much care for the podcast. Like, Dale Jr. download. Like I'll listen to it if somebody be like, you gotta listen to the story. But I frankly don't listen to it a ton. But I did like that Harvick basically confirmed that when SHR was using Hendrick based stuff, they were basing all their stuff off of Jeff Gordon's notes and points because Jeff Gordon was just so articulate in how he described what he needed his car to do. And then you look at what, him and Ray Evernham did, and then you have Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canales basically building off of Jeff's notes and data points in the Gen 4, in the COT, and everything. And you see Jimmy with those 7 championships, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I think 3 of those are Gordon's, man. I think Jimmy's like a 3-time champion straight up, and I think he's only there because Gordon was there. As soon as Gordon left, that's when Jimmy dropped off. He won that 7 championship because everybody fucking crashed and stuff. So when you're looking at Jimmy, I think he's truly the least talented of the 7-time champions. I don't think he deserves to be there. He's like a 2-time champion, and when you look at that and you look at where he's been, like, was Jimmy that good? Like this car is shit anyway. Like I think everybody unanimously agrees that the Xfinity car is the true stock car, what the Cup Series should be running, and for whatever reason, we've just gotten worse and worse with every generation, and we're never going back to a true stock car at this point. We're just gonna keep racing like these fucking Lamborghinis and shit that aren't even close to the real life counterparts, right? Like we are watching sports car racing in ovals, which is just so stupid. Like this next gen car is atrocious, and I called that years ago. Whatever. I'm not taking that victory lap. Long story short, with Jimmy Johnson, his point is true. He said it before he crashed. He's always driven on the right rear, and you could do that in every vehicle except the next gen car. I think Jimmy Johnson struggles. We have seen him struggle. The fucking guy wrecked his own guys in the 600 last year. Get this decrepit old has-been out of this series. Jimmy, just go away, please, man. Please go away. I can't play Jimmy Johnson today. I gave Jimmy 24th today. Unplayable, can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'd rather just play Austin Hill. Fuck it. If we're in the 6K range, I'm playing Austin Hill. Holy hell. That's my opinion on Jimmy today. Himrick is probably where you got to go if you're in the 5K range. He's starting last. Can't truly hurt you. So I'll probably have quite a lot of Hemrick just because he's starting last, but I have very little faith in him. And that is the preview. So now I can look at chat, and then we can talk about whatever we want to look at and everything like that. And hopefully nobody's truly mad. Or let's see, I'm going to go over here, and we're going to get new comments, even though I just spent 40 minutes breaking down every driver. I'm still going to get comments and be like, what do you think of this guy? What about this dude? What about that? Brandon, what do you think about this guy? So let's go ahead. And this going back, so like I'm not blaming Nick for this. He asked Larson, Byron, Reddick as main hog, which don't use that word with me either. I like all 3 of those guys. Kenny, I'm with you. Larson and Reddick should be there, especially if you're building those 2 guys. If you're building a 2 lap leader, should be those guys. I think you should go Larson and Byron, but that's just me. But that is perfectly fine. What's going on, BVB09? Happy to have you here. Thank you, David. Yeah, I'm wearing the shirt. Yet again, I haven't heard the rumblings, and this is really the first time I'm doing this with no true source confirming it. They've talked about it. I haven't heard anything, man. They should have not. Oh man, why are people calling me, man? I'm a very busy boy. Okay, I got people wanting to talk to me and they should, and I would lean towards they announce the reconfiguration. I really hope they do, man. Really hope they turn this into Atlanta. Please turn Texas into Atlanta. That'd be amazing. Yeah. What a lot of people shitting on the name. I like long, ugly ass names. Everything. What do you guys want, man? The Die Hard 500. That is so old fashioned. Thank you, Mayo, for the best content out there. Will Bush be optimal? I'm glad I answered that already. Favorite 5K play, probably Hemrick. You're leaning 3 studs. Yep. I'm leaning 3. Actually, I'm leaning both, Michael. Like if I'm building 2, it's going to be Larson and Byron. If I'm building 3, it's Larson, Reddick, Byron. If you build with 2 guys, then those are situations to where I probably want to pay up for Chase Elliott, and so on and so forth. I'm just kind of reiterating what I already said. I know I already answered this in the breakdown, but I'm just repeating over it because it's in the chat. Yeah, that Holloway was just amazing. That's perfect. Like, I don't know, like that's what I'm like. Like, Same thing, man. Kiss in concert, best concert ever. Everything else looks boring after that. This UFC fight, everything's boring. If I tune into UFC for like next month, I'm just gonna be disappointed. So I might as well not even tune in. Um, let's see. I answered that related to Chastain. So like, I guess we could look at Chastain more. You know, if you bring in the All-Star, yet again, I don't want to use the first fucking year in the next gen card. So just break it on this stuff here recently of where, yet again, this is like a line graph of where everybody's in or how your stock is doing, how Bitcoin is doing. I don't own Bitcoin. But how is that doing? Is that back today? But you know, if you look at the line graph, you're like, oh man, kind of struggling. Now he is back in the upward trajectory, but how does he go from this to fourth, fifth? I don't think he does it today. Let's see. Yeah, I guess Hemrick top value play. I guess I'm just gonna miss on Gregson if that is the case. Oh, maybe I said Friday. Maybe it is Sunday. I don't even know what day it is. Dude, my weekends are Monday and Tuesday. So like I wake up Wednesday, we're knee deep in the week, and I'm like, all right, that is Monday. What are we doing here? It's Monday, and I gotta start setting up, preview videos for golf and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I min cashed and everything. I just always min cash. I can never get fucking 6 for 6 guys, man. I can never do it. And I joined so late, I didn't even get into like the 40s and stuff. Like I've already entered my NASCAR stuff, so at least people won't shit on me for having $112 in the account. But like, this is where I was at last night. I entered the 30 just because I'll always enter the 30, just because I'll be pissed if I don't enter. If I have the optimal and I don't play it, this is where I went. Unfortunate here, true unfortunate. At least, I mean, when I saw the 85, I was like, all right, cool. I got no chance to the optimal. That's just how it is. But I went ahead and looked because I do like paying attention to where people play and stuff. And I just went ahead and looked at the 555 and Brick 75, need lunch money. Like this is what a lot of those guys played in the 555. So I was very happy about that. And going up yet again, we see good old Sheets here. Just wins in everything, guys. Like, why are you not using Sheets' stuff, man? I just don't get it. But I can't do anything more than just min cash in UFC. That's like fucking baseline. Even when I like enter 20 lines in like a 3 or 4, I just have them all min cash, man. I can't ever get like 6 for 6. Or if I get 6 for 6, it'll all be guys who score 80 points. Like, oh boy. And I don't know, man. Chastain at 92. I think, dude. Let me really push you guys, man. If you like Chastain, like I'm please, man. This is me truly touting, truly trying to help. If you like Chastain, find the $100 to play Elliott. That is my advice, man. That's what I would tell you. Play Elliott. If you like Chastain, play Elliott, please. That's where I'm at. Now, if Elliott crashes, I don't want to hear it. That shit happens. Now, if Elliott is horrible, if Elliott runs 24th all day, come crucify me. But I would play Elliott to Chastain straight up if they were starting in 12th and 13th. I'm getting the third Hendrick car starting 24th at 93, guaranteed to be like, the 10th best car, maybe does better. Like I would play Chase Elliott. If you like Chastain, I would play Elliott. That's where I'm at. Who gives a fuck about this home track stuff? No offense, Beaches. Who cares about that? Like who cares about home tracks, man? I mean, this is the same guy who's like, oh, dude, this team had a crew member die. They got dead crew member juju this week. So like, like I'll play teams when they have a fatality in the team, or like if someone has a miscarriage, or like I would lean into that, but I don't believe in like fucking the home track advantage. Like, so take that with a grain of salt. But like, who cares? Who actually cares if this is home track or not? Oh, that's brutal. 37.65. That's just unlucky. That's those races will haunt you when you're on somebody like that, and then you got a fucking value play screwing you over. Oh boy, that sucks. Yeah, so we're starting to what's going on? Sterling. That's so interesting. You guys like Suarez, man. What am I missing here? What am I missing here from Suarez? 72. pretty significantly off there. When we're looking at his group, going to look at Suarez's group and compare him to other guys in that group. Let's see. Suarez is. So we'll break it down. We'll go ahead and stare at what group and stuff, and we'll answer all this crap. He's in Group B. So we're comparing Suarez's speed directly with Larson. Let's highlight everybody in Group B that has speed and see how close he is. So we have Larson, Byron, Briscoe, Truex, Wallace, Hamlin. Oh my god, yeah. So like Truex, Wallace, Hamlin. Where are we at? Ham. Where's the Ham? Yeah. Okay, so this is a great example. So everybody who has speed in this race, who has shown consistent speed at these races, okay, we have the same practice laps, the same group. So looking at Suarez compared to where he is at between these individual drivers, we need to see drastic differences that would push him to be faster. So we see that he is significantly slower, a tenth off of Byron, tenth and a half off of Larson. So not even in the same field as those guys. Faster, no, slightly faster than Bubba Wallace. And we understand that these practice speeds, like, I mean, even at 28.9, 28.8, basically identical speed to Hamlin. Okay, so we can look at that. Moving on to the 10. Identical speed to Byron at this point. And Larson is about 9 hundredths faster. We look at him compared to Bubba, slightly faster than Bubba. Okay, and then that is... Okay, so now we're at 15. Still faster, slightly better than Byron. So we could argue identical speed to Byron. Identical speed to Wallace. Okay, and so the first check mark has been checked. We have compared him directly with people in his group, and he did show speed in practice. Okay, now, this is where I have just learned, at least this is the data point that I use. Okay, so Suarez is showing that he has the potential for true speed. So now I understand where some of the Suarez love is coming from. I then compare him to where has he been and where have those outlier performances been when he has shown speed. So if Suarez shows up today, okay, that means that he will have an anomaly of like a fifth place car, correct? Am I wrong there in stating that? What do I have Suarez projected for? I gave Suarez 14th. Okay, so that's baseline. So let's say we get Suarez, not even like a game of life, but showing more speed than normal. Okay, so let's say he is the 10th best car in this race. He is at 40 points. Okay, so I think that's a decision you got to make on your own, and I don't think my opinion is going to sway or nay you. I would lean to him not doing that, especially when you compare him to the true upside. Oh man. So, yeah. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm very much. I don't have an opinion on Suarez. Actually, I'm like, I don't really lean one way or the other. Could be a situation where I'm very wrong here in leaning on this. So now I'm like in a tertiary inspection. So so now I'm like, okay, how has Ross been? You know, what if he has a performance that Ross does? So that is certainly a 10th place card where you can score those 40 points. Past upside has been up there, although these are older races compared to where Ross has been. The potential that Suarez performs similar to this situation. So now, you know, Suarez is like a 10th projection, something like that. So now I'm on the 4th level of my inspection here for Suarez. So now I'm like, does my stuff like Suarez? Okay. Because he's 72. I have his base projection at 32 right now. Okay. So that's not drastically off value. That's 4 or 5. based on the fact that I don't have a lot of people hitting value, he might still be in my lineups based on my builds. Let's see where I have Suarez in, or if I have much Suarez at all. And he is, where is he in terms of the higher projected lineup? So he is in my 4th highest projected lineup. And this is raw points. I'm not simming anything. I just want to look at raw points for questions like this, or where I want to figure out. So he is in my 4th highest projected lineup. He is in my 32nd, my 47th, my 48th, 50th, 51st, 71st, 73rd, 76th, 100th. And that was with Larson, actually. So let me just see in general. Let me re-ask this again and see where he's at. So without buying him to Larson, 4th, 32nd, 47th. Okay, it's still the same. So even with my projection, he is still in my highest. I mean, he's in some of my higher lines. And specifically, when I'm looking at my top 100, so the way that I run stuff is I like making 5,000 lineups on SaberSim. Not to run the contest on, but because I can just very quickly, what is it? Not even itemize. I can very quickly, like, I don't have to waste my time hand building or calculating stuff. I have my highest 5,000 lineups using my projections, and I can answer a question like that. So, like, I didn't have a real opinion on Suarez. Hell, I still don't. And he's in, what was that, like 7, 8 of my top 100 lines. And specifically, he's in, 4 of my top 50 lines. So that probably means I'll probably have, Suarez in some lineups today, regardless of what my opinion is on him. So at that point, does my opinion even matter? If he's in those lineups based on his pricing, based on the raw points. So, I mean, fuck it. I guess I'm playing Suarez Day in like 20, 30% of lineups. Very long-winded way of answering that, but that's how I would answer that. And that's, I think, at least for me, that's how I answer those questions. But if you're using my projections or anybody's projections, that's how you should be answering that question in general. That's how you should be doing that for every driver. If you're curious about someone, or if you don't know about somebody, or you don't know how to feel about somebody, run your stuff, look at where they're at. If they're showing up in some of the higher lines, then like maybe you should just play him regardless of if he's projected good or not. If he fits in lineups and he's working and he's projected to be in some of those lineups, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. Long-winded. Hopefully that's not too boring and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. Look, honestly, Sterling, I'm just waiting for it. You know it's going to happen. 2025, 2026 comes around, and NASCAR is like, guys, guess what? We are getting rid of the current Xfinity car, and we are running a next gen similar type build. Yay. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. They're going to ruin the Xfinity car. And then, like, yet again, truly, I hate NASCAR so much, it's not even funny. Like, I truly dislike NASCAR so much in the direction it's gone. That's why I lean more into the pure speed. Because, like, short tracks fucking blow in general. Like, I don't want to watch some fucking shitty short track race on flow racing. I don't like that. I truly don't like short track asphalt racing. At this point, I've done everything. I've seen everything in dirt. Like, I very rarely like want to tune into like some stream of a dirt race where the leader is, killing the field. We got second place and third place, battling. Everybody else just getting lapped. Like, I just want to see pure speed, man. I want to see people go as fast as possible. Drag racing, plane racing, super speedway racing. I just want to see speed. And we're losing tracks that offer that. We've lost Texas World Speedway. We've lost Auto Club. We're losing situations in the world where people can go fast. F1, I mean, it's cool in terms of speed because they go so goddamn fast, but it's still boring to watch. So, like, now I just want to see pure speed, man. That's where I'm at. So, like, I don't know. NASCAR sucks to watch now. I don't know. Hell, just yesterday, I was, we were watching, maybe it was yesterday. No, it was Friday. Hell, we were watching, like, the fucking Texas 04 race where, Edwards beats Martin with, like, 2 to go. Maybe it was at 05, 04, I don't remember. But we're like, man, this is much better racing. Like, it's much more fun to watch. And these guys are actually having to drive it, and coverage is better. Like, NASCAR is just unwatchable now. I don't know. That's why I didn't get all up in arms about the stupid restart rule or the restart at Richmond. Like, who cares? Truly, who gives a fuck? The goddamn championship isn't even decided by who's the best cars. Like, why actually care about the performance on track? Would be cool if you could make a column of how many times each driver shows up in your top 100 lineups so you could see high playable hot spots of each range. Brandon Harper, that is called, you buy my projections, you run them, and sort by highest projected. Like, what? I don't need a column for that. That's called you have my projections and you run them. Like, what do you mean? That'd be, you can do that yourself. Buy my project. That's all I'm doing. The columns are here. Like, you want to see that? This isn't anything fancy. Wow. I just threw it in SaberSim, built 5,000 lineups, and holy hell, my exposures. Wow. Life change and stuff. I like, buy the projections, Mr. Brandon, and you can do that yourself. That is, yeah, like that. I do like, what the fuck kind of comment is that? Like, you have the ability to use my stuff. That's like, okay, so like, I've had, this is kind of funny. So kind of relate on that same note. Now, I don't mind it because if people pay me, I will answer you. Like, if you are a paying subscriber, you can ask whatever stupid thing you want. I will never complain about a stupid question if you're giving me money. If I don't see your name attached to a check or a subscription and you ask a stupid question, I will be annoyed. But related to that too, like, there are people who ask me, like, what are my cores and stuff? Like, you guys have my projections. You can see if you just run the stuff. And not even like, even if you don't have SaberSim, which, hey, maybe if you don't have SaberSim, you can get it through us. You can try it out through us, see if you like it. And if you do like it, you can get it through us because it's cheaper to get it through us than just on SaberSim because you get my stuff and Cheats' stuff and all the stuff we do for all the other sports. But you can just throw my projections in there and then sort by highest projected lineups. And yet again, we're not running contest sims or anything. So those highest projected lineups are typically some of the ones that I just end up playing, and I can see where people will end up landing based on my stuff. And you can see that's kind of how my cores are. Like, if it's the highest exposed guys, that's where I go with my cores and stuff. So like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, you guys have access to my stuff and everything. No offense, Hart. I didn't mean to like crucify you there, but like, that's, I don't know. That's you can have that stuff if you use my projections. But yeah, they're gonna destroy that Xfinity car, man. You know they're gonna destroy it. They're gonna destroy that Xfinity car, and it's gonna be over. It's gonna be over. I do believe that is about it. We've been live for 1 hour and 7 minutes, and I think that's about everything. I've talked about every driver, talked about my plays, kind of where I'm building and kind of where I want to be at. What else? I don't know. That's I think that's about it. Chat's kind of died up or died off. I don't think I have anything to rant about today. Do I? I don't think I do. Yeah, past that, I hope you guys have a great day. Hopefully the race goes well for you. I'll see you in the preview video for the next, it's Talladega week. Do I even do a preview video? Might do one. We'll have fun during the live shows this week. But past that, I guess we're focused on Dover next. And it's basically the same people. We're playing the same people next 2 months. We're playing Larson. We're playing Byron. We're playing Reddick. We're playing Hamlin. We're playing Truex. We're playing those guys, expecting them to win the next 2.5 months of racing, so on and so forth. So I will see you guys later. And yeah, see you guys. Good luck. Bye-bye.